Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. Happy New Year.
Well, maybe for you. Maybe
I'm
for
feeling
you.
good. Not for you.
2020 came in just like 2019.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Meet the new year, same as the old year.
You got the same coach.
Can we just skip to the number 2 topic on our list,
You ready to
please?
go?
Yes.
That's it.
No, I mean, not the first one. Just skip to the B block.
Nope.
we can't
We
do
need to talk
that,
about your guy. That's your guy.
My guy.
No, we do have a lot to get to today other than what you're mentioning. This is the first Undisputed of 2020. Such a packed show. Our Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers holding back their teams.
One of them.
And our LeBron and the Lakers back on track after blowing out the Suns last night. You catch that, Shannon?
They blow.
First, though, guys, we got to start with the ongoing saga in Dallas. Jerry Jones is scheduled to meet with Jason Garrett again today to discuss the coach's future with the Cowboys. This marks the third meeting between the two since the season has ended. While most of the speculation has been that Garrett's tenure with Dallas is inevitably over, the fact that we've got yet another meeting without any resolution is raising eyebrows around the league. Garrett, of course, has been the Cowboys head coach for the past 9.5 years, but his contract with the team officially expires on January 14th. So, Shannon, does this third meeting mean that Jerry is going to keep Garrett as head coach?
No, not necessarily. And it's odd, Skip. Why would you have a contract run through January 14th? So theoretically, Skip, he could have been in the middle of the playoffs and not have a contract. I thought that was an odd way of, structuring the contract to begin with. Skip, this is odd for me, especially since his contract is up. Now, I can see if he had 2-3 years left on his contract and you're trying to come up with a financial arrangement. Okay, Jason, this is what we're going to do, something of this nature. But I don't understand these 3 meetings. I do get it, because Jerry's doing everything in his power, Skip, to find a way to keep Jason Garrett. Because Jason Garrett fills a lot of roles. He fills the main role of being a punching bag. He allows Jerry to do what Jerry always wants to do, really coach a team without having to be there on a day-to-day basis, not having to sit in meetings and game plans and do all that things. But see, also, Skip, look, Jerry wants a guy that has the mindset, the offensive mind prowess of, say, a Sean Payton or Josh McDaniels, or even the guy for the Rams, Sean McVay. But he also doesn't have that ego either. So Jerry gets to say whatever, and he can criticize them guy. Well, he should have gone for it on 4th down. Second guess his head coach publicly. Now, behind closed doors, I believe there have been a lot of owners that have probably second-guessed some of the decisions their head coaches made, but not publicly like this, Gil. And so for me, I think Jerry and the Jones family, Stephen and all those Charlotte, Jerry Jr. sitting down, and they're trying to come up. How do we keep Jason Garrett? How do we sell keeping Jason Garrett while also trying to convince the fan base this is the right decision and this is the guy that gives us the best opportunity moving forward to get to and win a Super Bowl? How do they do that, Skip? Considering what you've seen, well, nothing he can do. Short of firing Jason Garrett, there's nothing Jerry Jones can do to appease one Skip Bayless. You made that abundantly clear. But I'm trying to reconcile. What I'm trying to do is trying to wrap my mind, okay, they had a meeting on Monday. Then they had another meeting. Took yesterday off. Now they have a meeting today. What could Jerry possibly be saying? What is Jason saying that, okay, Jared, now I'll be willing, you give me this guy on my offensive staff and take 2 or 3 guys away, I think we can get it done. Skip, that's the only thing that I can come with. It doesn't necessarily mean that Jason Garrett's going to be there. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to leave. I just find it odd, and everybody finds it odd, that after 3 meetings, after you wanted him, you were going to literally fire him on the way back from New England, but then you wrap your arms around and say you guys have had a football life together. I'm like everybody else. I'm confused what's taking so long. Whatever the decision is.
I am not confused. I have one question before I begin my rant today. Is there any way that we could figure out a way to impeach Jerry Jones? Is there a way? No. Could he be impeached just in the House? No. I'll take just in the House.
No.
Could he be impeached in the Senate and the House? No. I don't know. Could we take it to the Supreme Court to get him impeached?
Maybe.
Could we?
Maybe his family. Maybe the 3 siblings.
I don't know. Could we? Because that's the only way out of this nightmare that I'm continually in day after day after day after the nightmare season ended. Because as much as it tears me apart to admit this publicly, I have finally given up and I have given in to the fact that Jason Garrett will be the head coach of my Dallas Cowboys on opening day of the 2020 football season. Let's just sit back and look at what's happening here.
Okay.
As crazy and against the grain as Jerry Jones can be, there is no way he's going to bring back the quote-unquote lame duck head coach that everybody has fired. All the media outlets, all the credible reporters said Sunday night he's gone. There's no way that Jerry Jones is going to bring that guy in for 3 meetings and fire him. It's not going to happen. That would just be cruel. And the last thing Jerry wants to do to a guy he treats like his son, Jason Garrett, is to be cruel, to let him, as they say, twist in the wind for an entire week after the season is over.
Right.
So I can tell you for a fact, I know Jerry in and out. I interviewed him for hundreds of hours for 3 books I wrote on the Dallas Cowboys. He's a shrewd operator, especially when it comes to public relations. So how do you think it has been reported that there were 3 meetings with Jason Garrett? How did that get out?
Jerry.
He leaked it. He leaked it every time. Why did he leak it, Mr. Sharpe? Because he wanted to ease Cowboy Nation into the fact that Jason will be retained.
Right.
He wanted to leak 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings to prepare and condition the psyches, the battered psyches of Cowboy fans to prepare for it's happening again. So instead of one big press session, one big press conference, one big media session in which he said, I have decided to retain Jason Garrett. No, that's not happening. He's going to ease you into it until it's just a foregone conclusion.
Sure.
By next Monday, by January 14th, it will just be foregone. Oh, we're going forward with Jason Garrett. And I'm going to assume that he will extend that contract for at least 2 years because you wouldn't want to bring him back
Correct.
as another 1-year wonder again, right? On the hot seat for a whole year. You'd want to send the message, well, I'd at least have him for 2, and it could be 3. So, look, all they're doing now is they're having what you call organizational meetings. They are now discussing what can we do to improve the coaching staff? Should we fire him and hire him? Should we go after him? Should we do this? Should we do that? They are also discussing how can we improve our most obvious weaknesses on the defensive side of the football. Should we cut him? Should we go here? What should we do in free agency? Should we go draft heavy on all defense through the draft?
Skip, you remember last week it was reported that they're having Jason Garrett doing the final interviews of the players. Why would you do that if you're having a new coach? He's going to evaluate the players once he get there.
Bingo.
They don't need Jason Garrett
Thank
to do
you.
that.
Because he's still the head coach and he will be the head coach on opening day. So I'm going to stress this again. Remember, Jason Garrett has been a coach under Jerry Jones for the last 13 years. That counts it's like 4.5 actually as the offensive coordinator. And I'm going to remind everybody that Jason was the backup quarterback, with Jerry as the owner, obviously, and the general manager, backup to Troy Aikman for 7 years. Jason Garrett has been with Jerry Jones for 20 years. That's a long time. And he's still a fairly young man.
20 of his 30 of owning
Okay, you got it. It's with this guy. He is really a good guy. He is a great dinner companion, ask Bill Belichick, and he's an even better drinking companion, ask Jerry Jones, because what Jerry loves to do the most, especially on Friday afternoon, that's the time they, as Jerry would say, let their hair down. They go out and have beer and nachos into the wee hours and discuss what's going to happen on Sunday afternoon, the GM and the head coach. And that's his favorite time of the week, and it's going to be going forward with Jason Garrett, whom he treats like a son. Now, just for the record, there have been a number of credible reporters, as I mentioned, who have reported last Sunday night, he is gone. And David Moore, the Dallas Morning News, known David forever, he wrote this last night into this morning. there are still no indications that Garrett, whose contract expires, as you said, on January 14th, will be retained. No indication. So David's still digging in, as is Ed Werder. They're still saying there are no indications that he's coming back.
What's the indication he's going to be fired?
Thank you. Thank you. I got it. And David goes on to write, once you get past the owner's emotional reluctance to pull the trigger on someone he loves and respects, it's difficult to explain why there's been no resolution. There's been no resolution because it's going forward. I give up and I give in. So at this point in my Cowboy rooting life, and again, I go all the way back to age 10 when I saw my first game and I was hooked. Cotton Bowl in Dallas. I now have no choice but to either cut bait with my Cowboys, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't help myself. So seriously, I have no choice but to jump back on board. I have no choice because Jerry Jones is simply the most positive human being I've ever been around for an extended period. He sees everything as glass is half full. I keep seeing the 8-8 glass is half empty because the truth is it's about all empty, right? Even at 8-8. But now I have to go back to glass is half full. So I'm saying, okay, they did put up historic numbers on offense. They are historic, and we're going to discuss them in a later topic because they are off the charts.
Okay.
Out there in somewhere out in the universe, historic numbers. They outgained the Baltimore Ravens, as explosive as they were, by almost 400 yards this year. And again, we can debate why that was. But again, Jerry can just look at that and say, okay, I'll buy into that.
Right.
You know, I'll buy back into Jason Garrett because he presided over that, right? Then you look at the every other year syndrome with Jason Garrett. And I'm sure Jerry's sitting back saying, we won the division 2014. We won it in 2016. We won it in 2018. 2020 or bust.
It's an even year.
2020 or bust. Me and Jason together again, atop the division next year. And he can look at the facts that they blew out the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the division, obviously at Jerry World.
Yeah.
They blew out the Los Angeles Rams and looked like a Super Bowl team. They ended the year by beating the Redskins 46-17 after the Eagles just the previous week at Washington had needed all the way to the 26-second mark of the fourth quarter to win the game. Am I right about that?
Right.
So that team that almost beat the Eagles, that actually had them dead to rights late in the game, the Cowboys did a 46-17 look like a Super Bowl number on the Washington Redskins. So I'm saying, okay, I got to hang on to that. I got to hang on to a defense that wasn't ranked 30th in the league in points allowed. It was 11th. Not great, but not bad. Again, I'm not defending. I'm just telling you these are the glass half full points. And that defense, look, they allowed 12 at New Orleans. You've thrown that back up at me, right? 13 at New England. Okay,
17
pretty good. 17 at Philly, and held the Eagles to 10 at Dallas. So the Eagles have averaged 13 and a half points a game against them, the team that won the division. So you say, and even the Rams got to 21, but it was 31-7 after 3 quarters. So did they not do a pretty good number on the Rams defensively?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying, okay, I got no choice but to say, I give up, I give in, Jason in 2020, right?
You're giving up.
Yeah. This was always the case. And I hate to reiterate it again, but there's a reason why. They don't allow when you're higher up to have an involvement with a subordinate.
Yeah.
Because it clouds your judgment. Skip, he's never had this type relationship with any of the other coaches. Not Jimmy, not Parcells, not Campo, not Gailey, not Wade Phillips.
Yep.
It was only this guy that you said, I guarantee you at some point, if Jerry has had a grandchild that's gotten married, Jason was there.
Yep.
Jason has been to family functions. Other coaches have not been privy to.
No.
So it clouded Jerry's judgment. It makes it hard for him. Skip, you know, there are times that we've had family members, and if you're a parent, you would understand this. Your kid could do things wrong, and you say, you know what, I still love him. That's my baby.
Sure.
And that's Jerry and Jason Garrett, Skip. He knows after 10 years, 4 8-8 seasons, missing the playoff over half the time, he knows he probably should go in a different direction. But where else can I go, Skip, to get a guy that understands me, that I'm going to rant sometimes. I'm going to go off on a tirade, and I'm going to indirectly and sometimes even directly blame you.
Yep.
But you can't lash back out. You can't say, I wish my owner didn't say that, but All Jason says is what, Skip? I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to prepare to go to work. I'm going to get these guys ready to play. Jerry understands that, but he's gotten so close to Jason. Skip, this is a family member to him. He looks at him, even though he's not blood like Stephen and Jerry Jr. and Charlotte, he looks at him as a child, his own child. So it's hard for him to say, as you said, it's hard for you to cut bait with the Cowboys.
Yep.
It's hard for Jerry to cut bait because he has a personal connection with Jason Garrett. And it's tearing him apart because, Skip, he fired Wade Phillips during the season. He fired a guy after he won 2 Super Bowls like it was nothing.
Hey, Bill Parcells, gone. Right? Gone.
Here's the guy.
Not this guy.
I can see if a guy had gone to the NFC Championship game, gotten to a Super Bowl, even he hadn't won it. Okay, I get that. But this, but here's the thing, Skip. Also, Jerry Jones firing Jason Garrett is an indictment because he hired Jason Garrett, he put this staff together, and everybody on that roster, they're there with Jerry Jones' blessing. Everybody that got that king's ransom of contracts is Jerry Jones. So if I fire Jason Garrett, I'm basically saying I'm a failure. And the one thing we know about people that have a lot of money, they got a lot of egos, and they'll never consider themselves failure.
Nope, they will not. So after I spoke with my heart, got to get back on board, I'm going to conclude by speaking with my head that continues to scream, no, Jerry, no. Listen, here's the bottom line to Jason Garrett. He's been the head coach for 9 years. They've missed the playoffs. America's team has missed the playoffs 6 of those 9 years. That's inexcusable. That's just wrong. And I'm sorry, this year, you know what? I'm going to read a tweet. This is what I tweeted on New Year's Day because it just sums up my feelings about the whole 2019 Dallas Cowboys season. Let me read this.
Okay.
If we could show it, please. I am so relieved. The 2019 Dallas Cowboys season is history. It was the most torturous and baffling year for which I have ever rooted. This 8-8 team set the franchise record for underachievement. No team has ever been so misleadingly good and so inexplicably bad. Good riddance. And if I'd had more room, but I ran out of room, good riddance, Jason Garrett. Because the biggest reason for this was Jason Garrett, because there's something missing. It's almost baffling, inexplicable, but there was always something missing. You were just delighting in it game after game, Monday after Monday.
A lot of smiles.
What was missing was a spark. What was missing was some sense of urgency. What was missing was being on the positive side of that fine line that divides most NFL teams, the good ones from the bad ones.
Right.
Because they're all pretty good to start with.
Right.
They all got lots of talent to start with. Then there's some fine line that you used to know in the locker room in Denver and Baltimore where you're on this side of the fine line because you believe you're going to win the games, and my team believed, because Jason Garrett was the head coach, they weren't going to get over that fine line.
And plus, Skip, Jerry can also take his time because he believes, just like he tried to convince his players, this is the Cowboys. It's a privilege for you to play here.
Yep.
You should be willing to give me certain benefits, like is pay cut or less money playing for the Dallas Cowboys. He believes that there are more coaches, even though, Skip, you have less ability to coach because Jerry is going to have his hand in all the pots. This is Dallas, right? You do understand you be head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And although I will be looking over your shoulders, I will be addressing certain things, you still coach of the Cowboys. So Jerry feels that I'm going to get anybody that I want because Jerry said there's certain people that no matter what, they don't want to coach this because they can't deal with how I am.
True.
But Jerry doesn't feel that he's missing out on anybody, Skip, or because normally that's what Washington made it quick work. Boom, you're gone. David Tepper of the Carolina, mid-season. 5-6 games left, you're gone. They wanted to move on. It's like, okay, because I don't want to miss out on anybody. Jerry Jones like, I'm not going to miss out on anybody that I want because
we're the Cowboys.
We're Cowboys.
We're the Cowboys. So what happened to my football team this year? It became the worst thing a football team can become, which is soft. They were soft physically and soft mentally. You're going to go 8-8 no matter how talented you are if you are soft. There was no fear of failure in that locker room because Jason Garrett is all good cop. He is Coach Clap. He is Coach Butt Slap. He is Coach Playful Shoves to anybody coming off the field. Good, bad, or indifferent. You can fumble it or you can catch a touchdown pass. When you come off, he's still going to be clapping, right?
Well, head coach need to be more bad cop and position. Or coordinator Skip can be good cop.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, that's good. Now, you just described the Jimmy Johnson regime in Dallas because they were scared to death. But all the position coaches,
North Turner,
it's okay.
You played really good.
Covered Alexander with Michael Irvin. It's okay. Calm down. We're going to be okay. Don't listen. He kind of flies off the handle, but it's okay. Guess what? To your point about the Redskins, they just hired two, I'm not going to call them bad cops, but they're tough cops. Ron Rivera is a good football coach, and he coaches from the defensive side of the football. Jack Del Rio, I covered when he was a Dallas Cowboy. He's a tough guy. He played at USC as a tough guy. He coaches as a tough guy. He is a defensive-minded football coach. So you had just paired Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, and trust me, next year's Redskins will have a defensive mindset, which scares me. It horrifies me.
They will
because they will be a more physical football team, and they will come at you, and they will not give up coming at you. Because Ron Rivera's teams in Carolina, they were always that way. I know they went up and down, and sometimes
he was the D coordinator of the Bears team.
Thank you.
They went to the Super Bowl and lost to Peyton.
And he played for the 85 Bears.
Bears. He was the D coordinator in San Diego.
Okay. All right.
Jack Del Rio was the D coordinator in Jacksonville. He was also D coordinator in Carolina one year under John Fox, and in Denver when they went to the Super Bowl the first time with Peyton.
Okay, so that owner in Washington who's had a rough ride, Dan Snyder, he just made two quality hires to me. They weren't big splashes like he wants to make a big offensive splash. Nope.
They're solid.
They will be a force and a factor in this division going forward on the defensive side of the football because they have some talent on defense, and watch what happens now. So all of a sudden, I'm still stuck with this. The Eagles, for whatever reason, we'll talk about them today and tomorrow as they move forward to their playoff game, but they're still in a good spot. I'll just say it up front. I think they should be able to win their playoff game. We beat that Seattle team last year. It's probably a little better this year, but it struggled some down the stretch. So Philadelphia is still going to be a factor. If they win a playoff game, if Carson Wentz gets a win under his belt, they're just going to feel better and better about themselves. So this division will not get any easier. I don't know what the Giants are going to do, but I saw some flashes from Danny Dimes, and they still have what you call the best running back in football.
They got it.
Saquon.
Yep. Okay. There we go.
Easier for you.
Doesn't get any easier, so you better be careful here about the quote-unquote most talented team in football. How many times did I have to hear that this year?
You heard it a lot. Even you said it. You
Even I said it occasionally.
For a franchise that loves to talk, this team to suddenly be so tight-lipped about these meetings,
good question.
It's just a very interesting dynamic.
Not what came out of the meeting, but we are having the meeting. We'll let you. We give you a little.
We'll let you know later. No mercy. 2019 came to a fitting end for Antonio Brown, with him going off on social media. AB's latest rant came from his Instagram story, where he called his workout with the Saints a, quote, publicity stunt. Brown was one of 6 receivers to work out with New Orleans last week, who ended up signing former Ravens wideout Tim White instead of the former All-Pro. So, Shannon, do you agree with Antonio Brown here?
Skip, a part of me does, because I never understood, and I said it from the very beginning, it makes no sense. They said, well, we're trying to get some clarity or what's his situation. The NFL made it abundantly clear what his situation was. If you sign him, he's going on the commissioner's exempt list. Open and shut. I mean, I don't get what the Saints thought. Because Saints, if there was no memo sent out that he was going on this list, do you think you'd had an opportunity to sign him? Other teams would have snatched him up. But because everybody, Seattle, Pete Carroll said, because the uncertainty, it just, the rewards wasn't worth the risk. We signed him, and then we put him on the list, and so what? I mean, what do we get out of this? Nothing. He's sitting, basically, he could do that at his own home. But Skip, I don't blame Antonio Brown for doing this. I fault the Saints. Because the Saints asked him not to show up with an entourage. And when he showed up with an entourage, what did they allow him to do? Still work out and go through with it. It's like a child. If you reward a child with negative behavior, you take him to the store. They fall out, have a temper tantrum, and you give him ice cream or candy. You reinforce his negative behavior.
Sure.
You ask Antonio Brown not to show up with an entourage. He shows up with an entourage, Skip, and you still reward him by allowing him to work out. What did you do? All you did was create and feed. So guess where he goes next time? He's going to show up with it again because the Saints did it. You know, Sean Payton let him do it. Sean Payton says, well, I had never met Antonio Brown before. Okay. What did you learn that you didn't already know? That he's going to defy your rules? Yeah. That you ask him not to show up with an entourage, he shows up? Did you not think he could catch? Did you not think he could run routes? You don't get that many consecutive 100-catch seasons and go to all those Pro Bowls and be all-pro without being a damn good player. He's a very good player. He has a lot of problems going on.
Yep.
You have to accept all of that also, Skip. With that good player, that great player, you have to accept everything that comes along with him. That strikes me as odd that Sean Payton would go through. Because I got to tell you, I know one thing. The coach I played for, Mike Shanahan, if he says don't show up with an entourage and you show up with an entourage, you're not working out.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. So we wish you well. Hey, good luck. Take that somewhere else. Skip, it just didn't make any sense to me from a football standpoint because under no circumstance would the NFL go allow Antonio Brown to play this year.
Right.
Not in the 2019 season and not in the playoffs. So for me, if the Saints were going to sign him, if you want dibs on him moving forward for 2020, you sign him, Skip, and you just already know he's not going to play. The NFL still gonna have their pound of flesh also. So maybe we get him in October sometime. But he's under contract with us. We don't have to worry about bidding at a later date and time with someone else. But Skip, this made no sense to me from jump. When it came breaking news and we did it because at the time we didn't know when we was putting up our board in production, we didn't know this was going on.
No.
And then we started talking about it, like, Skip, it makes no sense to me because the commissioner sent the memo out saying basically he's going on the commissioner's exempt list. He's not playing this year. And for the Saints to do what they did and to bring him in there and upset that, you got a great situation with Michael Thomas. Antonio Brown believes he's better than Michael Thomas, and he's going to want balls. And the moment you don't throw him 15 catches, he's going to start throwing Gatorade coolers, and he's going to start he might call Sean Payton the Drew Brees the C word, like he called Mike Mayock and Ben Roethlisberger. Who knows, Skip? Leave that alone. Let somebody else deal with that headache.
You could be right about everything you just said, but I don't see it the way you saw it or see it now. I think there was genuine intrigue on the part of Sean Payton, who wanted to tweak the league or get back at the league for a blown call in the NFC Championship game and for suspending him for, was it a whole year?
He got the whole year. Yeah.
He got the whole year for Bountygate.
Joe Vitt coaching team.
Yep. And obviously we still have no idea if and when AB will be reinstated.
Right.
It might be a long time, but I think Sean Payton was being honest when he said, I just wanted to do my due diligence. Now, did he make it an extravaganza that it didn't need to be?
Right.
Maybe. But the point is, Antonio accomplished what really needed to be accomplished. He did go in there with his entourage, whatever you want to call it, and he did defy the request not to have one.
Right.
And he got away with it because he was allowed to go ahead and work out, albeit with other receivers.
Right.
But all the reports said, and I'm going to guess this came from Sean Payton, he lit it up in that workout.
Right.
No surprise to you.
No.
But again, I think if I'm reading the tea leaves right, Sean Payton was really impressed with the shape he was still in, the quickness he still displayed, exuded, because he is just lightning quick. And we saw that during Hard Knocks in his early workouts with the Raiders.
Yeah.
What was the report? Tom Brady was frustrated. Tom Brady was upset that the Patriots got rid of
agree.
it.
Yeah.
I agree.
That should tell y'all, if Tom Brady gonna vouch for you, that's all you need to know.
Okay, so think about what just happened. No matter what it was, publicity stunt or not, I think he won over the Saints. I think he left, when he walked off that workout field or practice field, wherever it was, I think he left a pretty good taste as far as performance in their mouths, don't you think?
Right.
And yet, a couple of days pass, and he goes on Twitter again, and he does lead this league in self-destruction on social media, does he not?
Yeah.
Leads it.
Leads the league by far. He's running away with that. And he says it was nothing but a publicity stunt. Okay, well, whatever good you established, whatever ground you gained in New Orleans for the future, for when you are reinstated, you just You just exploded it. You just blew it up. It's over with New Orleans. Am I right? So I don't know if Drew Brees is going to come back another year or not. I'm going to guess he is.
He is.
But you might have had a chance to catch passes from Drew Brees. You also could have had a chance to catch more passes from Tom Brady, but you burned that bridge too.
Yes.
As soon as you were out, then you took a shot at the owner and you burned it to the ground. I'm pretty sure you did. I could be wrong.
Skip, there's
about that.
once upon a time that I believe in the beginning, I don't believe that now, that there were people around Antonio Brown that enabled him. They told him what he wanted to hear, not what he needed to know. But I believe there are people around him now trying to tell him, AB, don't do that. It's kind of like our president, maybe before. But there are handlers around him now. But at the end of the day, that's a grown man. And he gonna tweet what he wants to tweet.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, AB is a grown man, and he's gonna behave how he's going to behave on Twitter and IG. So there's nothing, Skip, I can say, bro, come on, AB, don't do that, man. Come on, man, you killing your opportunity to get back. Yeah. You right. And as soon as this was a publicity stunt.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
What can I do, Skip? All I can do is advise. At the end of the day, and people that, look, we all have financial people. But at the end of the day, I'm a grown man. I made that money.
Sure.
He can advise me what I should do. Shannon, invest here. Don't buy that. Don't spend that. Hold on, bro. I want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Cut the check.
Yeah.
AB, you can tell AB all you want to, but at the end of the day, AB is a grown man, and AB is going to do what he wants to do. And even though at his own detriment, though he doesn't see it, because guess what, Skip? He's gotten rewarded. He acted a fool, got out of Pittsburgh, and got $30 million guaranteed. He acted a fool again and got with Tom Brady and the Patriots and got another 20 plus $30 million.
Okay, he did.
And then he acted a fool, and still, teams are still. You show up, don't show up. Hey, Shannon, bro, we don't want you to show up with your entourage.
Yeah.
I show up with 5, I show up with extra. And they still give me the sit down.
Okay.
Well, do it again.
Yeah.
Think about what you just said. He got $30 million guaranteed to go to the Oakland Raiders, who are about to go to Las Vegas.
Correct.
I thought it was made for AB.
I did too.
thought it was great.
But
because John Gruden can be tough. He's got some good cop and a lot of bad cop. But when he loves you, he really loves you.
Right.
He loved AB.
Yes.
Remember the early Hard Knocks episode when AB's out on the practice field? 84, you're going to lead this league in energy, right? Because he does on the once he gets to practice, which isn't always.
You may not be on time, but he'll be there.
Yeah, but when he shows up, it is
he works.
high energy.
Yeah.
It is electricity on the football field,
Right.
and it energizes the whole football team during practices.
Right.
I thought he was made to be an Oakland Raider, and then not only did he blow that apart, but then he burned that bridge to the ground because he took shots at everybody on the way out of town, right?
Yes.
And he's still taking shots.
And he goes to New England?
He goes to New England, and this is Tom Brady and the Patriots. You couldn't ask for, you blew that up, but you land there? What a great landing spot.
Correct.
And Brady loved him.
And what did he do? Take shots on the way out of there.
Took shots
and
away
still
at
taking
the owner.
Yes.
He took a personal shot at the owner.
The last
What are you doing?
person.
What are you doing? So you burn that bridge to the ground. And then you have a chance. Maybe it's a long shot, but I don't think so. But you have a chance to catch passes from Drew Brees next year, and you burn that bridge to the ground because they're not going to like you. You just, hey, Sean Payton, he doesn't play this game.
No.
Hey, you say he just publicity stunted you, you're gone. You're out. I mean, you got no shot going forward.
No.
You see Sean Payton's demeanor on the sideline. He cut his teeth under Bill Parcells. Everybody knows Bill Parcells is very matter of fact, no nonsense. Coach Belichick is the exact same way. You know exactly where you stand with them. There is no sugarcoating anything.
Yep.
It's my way or it's the highway. That's why I was shocked when our Jay Glazer reported that he was asked not to show up with an entourage. He shows up with said entourage and still gets an opportunity to work out. I'm like, Sean Payton did.
Okay. That's probably how intrigued Sean was to have him, because he said, we're just going to do our due diligence, just to have him on ice in case. And now that's over. So my question back to you is, after you burn 3 pretty good bridges to the ground, when are you going to burn your whole bridge to the ground back to the National Football League? At some point, you are.
Well, he said I burned 4. I burned the Steelers, I burned the Raiders, and the Patriots, and I burned the Saints.
And not a lot of time.
There's still 28 bridges left.
Yeah, but
I ain't burned them all down.
That's how he's thinking.
That's how he thinks, Skip.
But that's not how this league thinks.
No, absolutely not.
Because those are 4 pretty good bridges you just talked about, right?
Yes.
Pretty good situation.
But Skip, you know there's a bridge out there said, man, we can get him here. Man, we see all that talent.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of teams
Talent
that could
trumps
use
everything.
the help, but
you know how this league is. Talent trumps everything.
No, but I've seen this happen before where a talented player, finally this league has a lot of group think to it, a lot of sheep think to it, and it'll, after 4 misses, they'll finally just say, I don't want to.
They ain't put the word out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't took a knee, so he good. He got a couple more chances coming.
I don't know what 2020 holds for him. Honestly, I don't know. It could be different every single day with AB, and I'm sure we'll have another story at some point.
No mercy.
LeBron James dropped 31 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists in the Lakers' 117-107 win over the Suns last night. LA improved to 27-7 with the win, still good for the best record in the Western Conference. LeBron's stat line also marked his 8th triple-double of the season, which matches as many as the King had all of last season. And boy, it's still January. That's not bad, Shannon. Give LeBron a letter grade for his performance.
Oh, Wash King. He's not. First triple-double of the decade, Skip. Who belongs to who? Drum rolls, please. Say it with me, Skip.
How many short of Russell Westbrook is he?
Wait, hold on. Like you tell me, are we talking about Russell Westbrook? Ain't nobody mentioned nothing about no Russell Westbrook. We talking about this year in 2020. The first triple-double of the decade. That's going to be a Jeopardy question one day.
Oh,
They go, yeah. The first triple-double of 2020 went to who?
I like that.
I hope I'm going to contest it that night. I'll get that one right.
Oh, you'll get it wrong on purpose.
You guys would be so good.
I already been on Jeopardy once. I've been on Jeopardy once. Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
He just doesn't want to be on Jeopardy when I'm on Jeopardy.
I would not want to be around with you guys.
Skip, I'm going to give him a B+. Let me tell you why I'm going to give him a B+. He did score, did have a triple-double. I couldn't give him an A because he missed 4 free throws again. I couldn't give him an A because he had 4 turnovers in the second half. And also, I couldn't give him an A, Skip, because he played all 12 minutes in the third quarter with AD, and they allowed the Suns to get back into this ball game. Now, even though they started the fourth quarter, they were up by, I was thinking they went to the half, up by 33, 74-41. And then they allowed, so the Suns scored 17 in the first quarter, 24 in the second quarter, and you allowed them to get 38 in the third quarter? So for me, Skipper, I couldn't give him an A just on that alone. You can't allow that to happen. They need to do, I don't know what's going on, but Frank need to do something about this because we saw this with the Clippers.
Frank Vogel. Yep.
Skip, we saw this with the Clippers. 5 minutes into the third quarter, they had a 15-point lead. And somehow at the end of the third quarter, we're tied.
Wow.
So this is a reoccurring theme here. There is no way in heck you have a 36-point lead that your 2 stars have to play 38 minutes. No way that should happen. And that happened last night. I'm thinking like, man, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, man, I had a long day. You know, you had
Oh, sure.
Yeah, broke in 2020. Right. I'm going to get me some rest now.
You and the dogs at home?
What exactly were you doing
all
for
that
your celebrations?
People don't need to know what I got going on in my humble abode.
Tell us.
But anyway, and then next thing I know, I was like, they're going to mess around and F this game off, fooling around.
That would not have been good.
A 36-point lead is down, Skip, with probably like 4 minutes left to 7.
And yet you gave LeBron a...
I gave him a B. Because
B+.
I gave a B+. Because guess what he did?
You just dropped it to a B.
No, B+.
You talked yourself
No, B+. Because guess what he did? Skip, it was 7, and then what he hit? Boom! That 3-pointer to push it to 10.
Oh, really?
But here's the thing. What's so amazing
There's
about
more game after that, but I'll get there.
But here's the thing, Skip. In the fourth quarter alone, LeBron James was 2 of 7 from the floor. The rest of the 1 of 14. So, hey.
That was
Save
everyone.
the day.
Hey, O'Brien.
Yeah.
All O'Brien.
What was the score in the fourth quarter? Do you know what it was? Phoenix 28.
28. Ooh.
Lakers 16.
I don't know.
28 to 16.
I don't know.
Not good.
I'll tell you what I do know.
What?
I know one team had 117 and the other team had 107.
Yeah.
Now, which team had 117 and which team had 107? And Monty Williams was on the sideline thinking like, you mean to tell me I turned down an interview for the Lakers to take this job for the Suns?
I think he's having fun with the Suns. And I think they've shown little sparks and spurts of being a pretty good team.
Nah, that's the tire falling off the car. Like Jada did morning, Jada had a flat. Oh, my bad. But anyway,
I made it to work.
You know, that's the, you know how you skip. I don't know if you've ever been driving the car and the tire comes completely off and sparks going everywhere. That's what happened with Phoenix.
There was a nail in my car, Shannon, but I made
What
it.
I did,
Thank you.
I was driving. We were in the truck one time, and we make a turn. My sister's driving at the time, and we see a tire go rolling right. Like, who tire is that? And next thing I know, we leaning to the side.
So you're saying that's Phoenix?
Yeah,
That's Phoenix.
And you see where we go, Skip. We got run flats on 18-wheelers. We cruising. We rolling over everybody. We gonna win like next 6 games, Skip. Can I get 3 cases on next 6 games? We win.
No, I won't do that because I need to talk about LeBron's performance, or lack thereof, last night.
Skip, don't do that, Skip.
I'm going to give LeBron a C for last night because I thought about worse, but I'm going to give him a C just off his first half alone.
Okay.
But here's what I saw last night in the game that I watched on my television. I'm not up in Bel Air. I'm down in what they call the flats. The flats.
Yeah, y'all didn't have nothing going on last
Nothing.
night.
So, no, we didn't.
We
have
had
anything
fireworks.
going on. Okay, way to go.
Sure.
I saw a Phoenix Suns team that looked like it got to celebrate New Year's Eve in Los Angeles, which is a dangerous place for a team to get to celebrate New Year's Eve. It's either Los Angeles or Miami in a dead heat for the most dangerous place to celebrate December, whatever it is, 31st? Yeah, 31st. So the
Maybe
Suns.
New York.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, they don't do nothing but watch the ball.
I think it's over after midnight. The point is, the Phoenix Suns look like they had not slept very much to start this game off because the first quarter was absolutely an embarrassment for that franchise. It was 43-16 after a quarter, and it got so bad at the 5.5-minute mark of the first quarter that your man LeBron James did something I've never seen anyone do in an NBA game. Could we see this, please?
Oh,
Yeah, a little
he pulled a
Sharpe.
Messi? Did he pull a Messi?
Oh!
He pulled a Messi? A header.
He went soccer ball to the official.
Yes!
I kind of liked it.
He straight clowned the Phoenix Suns. He was so hot dog front running at that
There you
point
go.
that he just said, watch this. This is how not seriously I'm taking my opponent tonight.
Ooh.
You ever seen any NBA player do that before? I have not. Do you think the Suns love that? I do not. Maybe some of his veteran teammates probably didn't love that.
They love it.
Because they know there's this guy named Devin Booker on the other team who can just shoot the lights out. And if he takes that personally and starts taking the game seriously, some things can start happening at Staples Center. And right on schedule, soon thereafter, here came the Suns. So all of a sudden, even though the game kept getting a little more out of hand, the Suns started looking like they wanted to play basketball after the first quarter. And it started getting a little dicey. And even though LeBron in the third quarter, he actually played pretty well in the third quarter and scored, what did he score, 11 points?
Yeah.
So, it was pretty good. But, again, he was a minus 11 in the third quarter, minus 11. So he's scoring those points, but they're fading.
That's why I gave him a B and not an A, because he was
B
on the
plus.
Skip.
Are you down to a B? You
No,
can have a B.
but
I'll give you a B.
The reason why he did not get an A is that he and Anthony Davis was on the court for the entirety of the third quarter, and he allowed this to happen. Okay. And he also had 5 turnovers, and I didn't like that. 4 of them in the second half.
Okay, so they lost the third quarter 38-27. Then I told you what they lost the fourth quarter by. So your Los Angeles Lakers at home lost the second half 66-43. They lost by 23 in the second half. That's not right.
No.
That's something's wrong. And you mentioned some big three LeBron hit, but a lot more happened after that, because if we can see down the stretch, this is down at like the 2-minute mark of the game, LeBron James missed a 22-foot jumper, which then opened the door for Tyler Johnson to shoot a three. Here's LeBron's miss. It was way short. Here come the Suns. Do you realize if this jumper goes in from Tyler Johnson, it's going to be a 4-point game with 1:39 left? And by the way, JaVale just crushed him. He just fell all over him. Did you see that? You're looking at your notes.
I did. I saw it.
But JaVale just fell all over him.
I thought they were going to call it, too.
Yeah, and they didn't call it. And that could have cut it to 4 with 1:39 left, and I would have given the Suns a chance to pull off a huge comeback from 36 points down if they'd given him 3 free throws or if he'd made that shot. And Tyler Johnson was 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter. So then LeBron comes back the other way, and he just took it to the hole because they have nobody who can stop LeBron. Again, here's the Tyler Johnson play with JaVale on him. Danny Green runs at him, and then JaVale just crushed him. That usually gets called, but they're not going to call it on the King in the King's Palace. And then LeBron just came back the other way and just said, here, I'm just going to attack And thank you very much. This game is about to be over because I'm going to extend it back to a 9-point game. Is this not pretty easy? Look at this. You could be doing that all night long.
No, you can't do that all night.
Yes, they can.
No, you can't.
Okay, that's just easy.
It's too tiresome.
Okay. So LeBron, actually, it all worked out for LeBron because I've told you he leads the NBA in fourth quarter shots attempted. Why is that?
Because he needed to.
Because against bad teams, he is stat stuffing in the fourth quarter because he said the other day, I have it in the back of my mind, I can pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most points scored in the history of the National Basketball Association.
LeBron James had 8 points in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Can I tell the people at home how many points they actually scored in the fourth quarter?
16. Yeah.
So who in the hell was supposed to make the point, Skip?
LeBron went 2 for 7 in the fourth quarter. And you like that?
No, I don't. Huh. But I tell you what, the rest of the guys went 1 for 14. You like that?
Well, something is
3 for 21, Jenny.
Wrong. Yep. Like you said, Frank Vogel, what are you doing?
Yeah, we get it right. Don't worry about that.
What about your mindset here?
You know, we do celebrate. We live in L.A. too. We celebrated too. LeBron had a birthday. We had a good old time. We had a birthday.
Did you go?
Nah, don't worry. See, I don't dry snitch. I don't tell on nobody. But I'm just saying it was a good time to be had by all that was there. But anyway, Skip, look. He was 0. Everybody else was minus. Yeah, was minus. Anthony Davis was -2. Yep. Danny Green -5. Kyle Kuzma was -10.
How you like Anthony Davis's fourth quarter? 0 for 4. Boy, he's like the opposite of a closer, right?
But Skip,
he's an uncloser.
This is what we know.
He's an opener in the fourth quarter.
Let this sink in. For the simple fact that LeBron had 10 assists at the half and ended the game with 12, that lets you know shots weren't going in the second half like they were the first half.
Yeah.
But he still found a way to hold it together. Yeah. And right now, we have the best record. We got 2 cases due on the next 6 games.
We have no cases due.
That's bad.
We have no cases. I haven't even looked at the schedule.
I don't even care about the schedule. Yeah. I don't care. We could have
Are they playing the Clippers or the Rockets? That's all I need to know.
We can play the Clippers, the Rockets, and the 76ers, and the Bucks. We going 6-0 in the next 6.
The rest of the West that I thought was going to be pretty impressive is the least.
That's what we do.
LeBron has moved from the Eastern Conference to the Eastern Conference again.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. But Skip, everybody think they look good till they stand next to Halle Berry. I mean, everybody look good in the West until they had to see the Lakers. That's how they do it. You know what I'm saying, Skip? Skip, you like body. I mean, you in the healthy fit bodybuilder. Everybody's like, ooh, man, you look really, really good. Until you get on stage with those other guys. And then you like, you don't look like that. Utah, you thought Denver, you thought all them teams, and then you see the most twin towers we got.
I even thought Portland was going to be respectable. Portland has now lost 5 in a row to fall to 14-21.
And who started it?
Yeah.
And who started that?
Yep.
Us. We started that.
So actually,
I'll tell you what we're going to do, though. Eventually, we're going to make Dame get up out of Portland. Now, he can say he going to stay, he loyal to the soil all he wants to. But we're going to make him bounce. Guaranteed we're going to make him bounce because he going to get tired of this losing.
Your team can really front run, but when somebody starts to turn up the heat,
that's what we do.
They start to melt.
No, when they turn up the heat, we take off clothes and get in the frying pan. Because we like it hot. Something like it hot. Hot. Skip Bayless, it's us.
So LeBron's stat line ended up being
Miss Triple Dub. She didn't party too hard, Jenny.
Not too. She showed up.
Yeah, because a lot of people, like, nah, I can't. I ain't going to be able to go. She showed up.
31, 13, and 12. But he had to play 9 minutes of the fourth quarter to get there against a bad team that was coming back from 36 down.
Skip.
Aha.
I said that.
That's the classic LeBron night.
Skip, hold on. Do you actually think LeBron wanted to play in the fourth quarter? I think
yes, I do.
No.
I do.
LeBron was just sitting over there, LeBron, like, got me a nice chill night. Hey, got me 30 minutes in. I'm good. With 28, 29 minutes in, I'm good. I'm done for the night.
Every shot he took in the fourth quarter, he's thinking, take that Kareem and take that Kareem and take this Kareem.
Check.
Yep.
It's inevitable. And everybody here knows the definition of inevitable. That which is bound to occur. The unavoidable. It's going to happen. 40,000, 10 and 10. 40,000 points, 10,000 assists, 10,000 rebounds. There can be no questions.
How about 3 and 6 in the NBA
No, we about to be
Finals? It's over. That's where it's going to stop.
5,
3 and 6. Yeah.
5 and 6.
I'll go 5 cases on that right now.
5 and 6.
I'll go 10 cases.
No.
10 would be big for you to get.
5 and 6.
I'll let you cut into my lead.
Skip 5 and 6. We're 40, 10 and 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even really know why, debate, but hey, I'll do that.
Hey, 10 cases. Nope.
Put it on the table.
Stat
Not
stuffing.
gonna do it?
I don't blame him. It's all he's got is longevity record.
This joker here talking about stat stuffing. Who stuffed the stats better than Dak Prescott this year, Jenny?
Oh, weird.
No mercy.
Well, the Cowboys missed the playoffs this season. It's hard to see why when you look at the stats. The team finished with the highest-ranked offense in the league and also finished top 5 in passing yards, rushing yards, and third down conversion percentage. The Athletic pointed out the discrepancy between the Cowboys' home and road performances as one of the reasons behind Dallas's 8-8 record despite their historically good offense. So, Shannon, how do you explain this?
Easy. I thought I did a good job, Skip, explaining it the other day. A lot of front running and garbage time stats and beating up on bad teams. When I think of historically great offenses, Skip, the 4 that really come to my mind, and I think you will agree with this, you go back to the Washington, 83 Washington, the 99 Rams, 07 Patriots, 13 Broncos. Historically great. I'm talking about Randy Moss and Tom Brady, 23 total touchdowns. Tom Brady had 50 touchdowns, 8 picks. You go to the 99, the greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner was also MVP. Tom Brady was also MVP. Peyton Manning in 2013 had 5 guys with double-digit touchdowns. MVP. You see where I'm going there, Jenny? You see what I'm doing there? Now, the greatness doesn't, we good at home and then bad on the road. You see, Skip, I don't know if you noticed this. The Cowboys went 1-6 against playoff teams. They averaged 37 points a game in their wins, 17 points in the losses. Now, their greatest statistical game all season long, Jenny, they threw the most yards. Guess who they did? Guess who they put that up against, Skip? The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah.
At one point in time, they were behind 31-3.
I remember.
They were also behind by 17 to Chicago, down by 14 to Minnesota. But they're historically great. 14 to your Vikes, too, Jenny. But they're historically great.
I liked it.
Historically great, Skip. You can't be historically great and you trail by 28. You trail by 14. You trail by 17. All they're doing is accumulating these yards when you get behind and you don't come from behind and win. And like I said, if you didn't watch the game, you like, man, Green Bay barely beat the Cowboys. No, they didn't. They beat the brakes off them. And that's what happens, Skip, when you get behind.
Within a late missed chip shot field goal and a potential onside.
See, think about what you had to see. And Pro Football Focus says the Cowboys were unlucky. Now you're asking for luck. You need to make a field goal and get an onside kick and go down and score another touchdown in order to tie the game and get into overtime. That's luck. You see, Skip Bayless, this is not a historically good offense. This is an offense that beat up on some bad teams. They're plus 130 in 6 wins. And when they needed it, where's that historically great offense when they scored 9 points? Didn't they score 9 points against the Pacers, Jenny? Historically great. What about that 10 points? What about that 10 points they got in New Orleans? What about the 9 points they got against Philly? Historically great. I'm trying to figure out, did the Broncos score 10 points all year in 2013? Maybe, I didn't look that up. What about the Patriots? Did they score 20?
You want me to answer or go?
I want you to go. You go ahead.
Thank you. My turn.
Go.
I want to compliment Bob Sturm of The Athletic for compiling this table because he went all the way back to 1960. It's not back to the dark ages of the NFL, but he compiled his table back to 1960. And again, to reiterate what Jenny opened this with, this is games in which you score 30-plus points with 400-plus yards and you win by 10 or more points. The Cowboys had 7 of those. That ranks 5th all-time back to 1960, which I think that's a good starting point, okay? That's 5th all-time, and he went down through 14 teams. What does it not have in common with all the other 13 teams in this table? Well, obviously, all those other teams were either good to great in playoff games.
They all win double digits.
Yeah, there are a lot of Super Bowl winners. There are a lot of Super Bowl losers. There's some championship game winners and losers, right?
Yeah.
So they're the one team, and he goes 14 deep, that went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. Well, this is hard to do because I'm going to remind you one thing. They had 7 such games, obviously wins. The other win was the one at Detroit that they ended up winning 35-27. So they didn't qualify with the 10-plus point differential.
Right.
And it's because Detroit, with 5:49 left, Marvin Jones Jr. caught a touchdown pass of 24 yards, and it cut it from 35-21 to the final score.
Right.
So they were up 14, and I told you the next day, I was on the floor closing my eyes because Jeff Driscoll was coming back on my defense. But my point was, Dak Prescott's offense that day at Detroit put up 509 yards, and he threw for 444. You can say bad team, whatever, but it came very close to qualifying as an 8th win here that hit all those marks. What if they had 8? That would have tied them then for 3rd on this list with the Oakland Raiders of 1968 and San Francisco of 94 team that broke through and won the Super Bowl.
And that year also, Steve Young was the MVP.
He was.
You notice, Jenny, you notice the reoccurring theme?
And the MVP of the Super Bowl.
And Tom Brady was MVP of 07. And Peyton Manning was 2013. And Kurt Warner. Now, you see something? Your guy, quarterback, Skip Bayless. Okay. Those other guys were MVPs.
Okay, glass half full or half empty? Because when it was full, it was overflowing full.
It all depends on what you're drinking.
When it was empty, it was empty because none of those 8 wins or the 7 that qualify for this table, they weren't comeback wins because they weren't down 31-3 and coming back to win.
Yeah.
They just exploded on these teams. You can call some of them bad teams. I don't think you thought the Eagles were a bad team. I don't think you thought the Rams were a bad team, right?
You got Washington twice. You got the Giants twice. Okay, so that's 4-7.
So did the Eagles. Right?
You take that, Skip. You're 5-1 in your division. Where are you outside of the division? 3-7.
Okay.
Or the worst division in football.
So let's look at the margins of losses here. This is why Jerry's about to keep Jason Garrett.
Okay.
He's looking at margins of losses, and the only game that got kind of quote-unquote out of hand was the Buffalo game on Thanksgiving, and that's a bad one to get out of hand because that's the most watched game of the whole NFL season, the later game on Thanksgiving, right?
Over 32 million people.
And they fell behind 26-7 to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills at Jerry World, and then they got it back to 26-15, but it wasn't like the comeback against Aaron Rodgers or the comeback at the Jets when they came from 21-3 down to within a 2-point conversion pass of going to overtime.
But doesn't that explain the yardage? When you get that down, teams are like, we're going to give you nothing cheap or deep.
Okay, that yardage doesn't count in this table.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not. It does not. We're just doing the wins. But that's by 10 plus.
But that's what
you can forget all those games.
But I'm saying,
forget the Green Bay, forget the Jets.
No, but I'm
not counting.
No, I'm saying
you can count the yards in that they ran away with the total yards for the season. Yes, I'll give you that.
No, but I'm saying, but if you look at it, Skip, 4 of the 7 came against Washington and the Giants.
Okay, but look what Philly did. Philly barely beat the Giants in overtime, and it went down to 26 seconds left just 2 weeks ago at Washington for Carson Wentz to finally hit Little Ward Jr. for the touchdown. So don't tell me they weren't competitive within the division. But my team just wasted them every time they played them.
What would Dak have done minus his 3 top receivers? Because that's what Walker to him did.
Well, he had Zach Ertz, right?
No, Zach Ertz weren't there.
Okay, he had him against the Giants.
Yeah. No, not this last game. Yeah. And he won on the road.
But I mean, the one that they started their win,
yes.
He had him, right?
Whoops, he didn't have his 3 top receivers.
Hold on just a second. I dropped my microphone.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing since I got here in 2016. Drop the mic on it.
Jeez, come on.
So I'll have to just talk like this the rest of this one. Sorry about that. Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's not working.
So, here's the point of this. Margins of losses. Yes. Okay, so they lost by 2 at the Saints, 10 to the Packers, but it got close at the end. 2 at the Jets, 4 to the Vikings, and they should have won the game. I'm sorry, but they just should. They had them. Zach was on a roll, and then they handed it to Zeke twice, threw it to Zeke, and they lost by 4. But there's no shame in that. Patriots by 4, they hung in that game, and then the Bears by 7, and the Eagles by 8. So they wiped out the Eagles and then lost by 8, and Carson Wentz managed 17 points in the win.
Okay, you say how many they lost by to the Packers? 10.
10.
Okay, but they were down 31-3. They lost by how many to the Vikings? At one point, they were down 14. They lost by 2 to the Jets. They were down by 18. They lost by how many to Chicago? They were down 1 point by 17.
I don't know. Maybe when you played football, it was just 3 quarters, but today it's 4.
But
you actually get to play all 4 quarters.
Skip, that's my
quarterback is the comeback king, man. He will not quit.
But he didn't, Skip. How you the comeback king and you sitting outside the playoffs? Now, the most
only gets you so far.
Now, what I'm thinking, Skip, 2020, I'm thinking like, you know what? Dak should not have been worried about no celebration. Dak should have been in his game plan. But he out there partying. He with me.
I don't think he's out.
You sure about that?
I think he's working.
Working on what? He ain't got no job.
He's probably about to have surgery on his shoulder.
Hey, no.
Which is another reason that Jerry Jones is going to keep Jason Garrett. He said, well, Dak got hurt before the Eagles game.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
Skip, you don't even believe that.
I do believe that.
Skip, that man ain't going to have no surgery on his shoulder for what?
Be surprised.
Well, you never know.
Hey, this just shows you how wildly inconsistent and how wildly torturous this team was on me, because it's hard to do what they did in those 7 games,
Cowboys,
almost 8.
Not if you're the Cowboys, it's not. When we talk about historically, we talk about historically being great basketball, baseball, football, has inconsistent ever come up in the same sentence.
Okay, but this is why Jason Garrett will remain as the head coach, because trust me, Jerry knows this full well. His analytics people have said, Jerry, look at this. We're 5th all time in these kinds of games.
Skip, at what point in time that historically great offense made plays that made – where was that historically great offense against New Orleans?
Well, I told you there was like one play in those games that didn't get made by my quarterback. I've said that to you 100 times.
But historically great offenses make those plays, just like historically great defenses make plays.
Okay, but when it was in other games that they won, they made plays all over the field. They showed you in 7 games and really 8 games that they were all-time explosive. I'm sorry, they just were when they were right. They were. It's why I picked them to get to the Super Bowl.
That's why I picked them to go 8-8.
Okay, but okay, now we get back to the reasons that I told you they were 8-8. Again, they were last in punting. This is what Jerry won't want to focus on. They were last in kickoff returns.
New special teams coach will rectify that.
Okay. They were 3rd to last in starting field position. So the quarterback is up against it again and again and again, where he's starting at his 5-yard line or his 8-yard line or his 11-yard line.
If you're historically great offense, it don't matter if you're starting in the end zone. You drive and you get the ball and you get points.
And his defense was tied for 25th in takeaways, so you're not going to get any short fields from your defense, right? And they were 19th in sacks. So they're not going to stop you cold with a big sack on 3rd down where you're going to force them to punt.
And that historically great offense wasn't going to do anything against good teams. So what are we talking about, Jenny?
They're going to go up and down the field against a good team. But when it's time, when you have to drive it 95 yards, anybody can be human, and there's 1 3rd down you don't make. Even though my quarterback led second in the NFL in passes completed for first downs. That's pretty good.
In other words, you want me to ask Commissioner Goodell to make the end zone 30 yards instead of 10.
It would have helped my team.
Hey, it definitely would have helped your team.
My team might have been 12-4.
Yeah, I don't even know if they'd have been that.
Well, I'm just telling you. I'm going to say this one more time about my running back, that he was 2nd in the league carrying the ball on first down. 2nd in the league. In yards gained on average on first down, he was 19th in the league. So it keeps setting you back. So Dak Prescott is up against 2nd and 11, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, because Zeke goes nowhere.
Guess what historically good offenses can do? Overcome that.
Well, sometimes they did. 8 times they did, and 8 times they did not.
How many times they do that against good teams?
Well, the Rams, the Eagles, right?
2.
Okay. Well,
hold up.
They can't help the division they play.
Hey, Jenny, I don't know. Did the NFL shorten the season to 2 games? I could have sworn they played 16.
You've been raving about Carson walk it to him Wentz, and he beat the Giants twice and the Redskins and the 8-8 Cowboys to win the division. Way to go. Walk it to him.
And your guy, and guess what? The Eagles only got a historically great offense.
You know.
And we still did that.
Your guy's still.
Oh, my guy, walk it to him.
Maybe not for much
I think I'm going to have to start following him on Twitter. I think he'll have a Twitter account.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
So think about this. He barely beat the Giants and he barely beat the Redskins, and those were 2 of the wins to get home.
But guess who he didn't barely beat? Chicago, Buffalo. He didn't barely beat them.
Well, he did. He just
No. But he went on the road and beat the brakes off Buffalo.
He didn't beat the brakes
Beat the brakes off them.
Did
Beat the Chicago, beat the brakes off them.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers gift wrapped
win for you. Why are you worried about when Aaron Rodgers?
He gave you the win that won the division.
No.
At Green Bay.
Skip. if you just take care of your business, you don't worry about us. You got 16 games just like we had 16. We took care of our business. We didn't worry about your business.
Better offense this year. Dallas's or Philadelphia's, not even close.
The difference is, everybody talk about, your grass is greener. Hey, that grass in Dallas is fake.
Yeah, well.
My grass is real in Philly.
Those numbers.
I got a real QB.
The reason why this year was
anybody
so
win a playoff game.
You've got a real QB, and mine put up historic numbers.
And for what? Skip, let me ask you a question. If James Harden, let's just say James Harden had the Atlanta Hawks record. Are we talking about him averaging 38? We're talking about it because he's doing it in a winning scenario. That's historic. What are you doing right there? That ain't no historic. You let all those teams you talk about, they went to Super Bowls, they won Super Bowls.
They did.
Those guys 8-8. That should be an indictment on him.
It's an indictment of the head coach that's still the head coach.
Maybe that meeting is about to happen in a couple hours. Maybe we'll have a few more news reports coming out of that one. I hope we hear something.
No mercy.
ESPN ranked all 12 quarterbacks entering the playoffs this weekend, and while Lamar Jackson was unsurprisingly ranked first, some people took notice at Tom Brady being ranked all the way down at number 10. Despite the Patriots' 12-4 record, Brady put up some less than stellar numbers, partly due to a lack of protection from the offensive line, as well as his young receivers' ability to separate. So, Shannon, did they get this one right?
Yeah. I think it might have been a little lower, but, hey, let's do a blind resume. That's all we got to do is just strip the numbers off, put their stats up, offensive numbers, and let's see. Let's see if you're 28th, 29th in completion percentage, you're 20th in QBR, you're dead last, and you're almost dead last in yards per attempt. Just put that up there, Jenny. Now, see, you can't do that because, you had to put that Brady. Had to put the Brady on the back, and he's a 6-time Super Bowl champ, and he's won 4 MVPs. So then it starts to cloud your judgment. Judge it on this year, Skip Bayless. That's all I ask you to do. And they finally starting to do what I've been asking you to do for the longest of time. Skip, he's been inconsistent. He's been erratic, and he's not the reason they made the playoff. What we've seen is this historic defense is that if they give up 17 or more points, they're losing. Coach Belichick showed you. A minute and 30 seconds in the half with 2 timeouts. Take a knee. 27% completion percentage. That's behind Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kyle Allen. 27th in yards per attempt behind Kyle Allen and Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania is alive and well in Jacksonville. 19th in QBR. The only playoff quarterback with a worse QBR than Tom Brady is Josh Allen. And somehow Skip Bayless thinks he should be 5th. Based on what? Based on the fact that he's won 6 Super Bowls, or you're basing it on his play this year? That's what I do, Skip Bayless. What Tom Brady has accomplished, he's accomplished. I would never try to wipe that off his resume. But what I will do is critique his play in 2019, and it has not been good. You know that, and finally Pro Football Focus graded him accordingly.
This was actually ESPN.
They definitely got it right. Now, they don't want to say anything bad about Tom, because you say anything bad about the Patriots, they won't let you get no interviews. They already put you in a dark closet, and they make you wait your turn. So you get no access to them.
Yep. So what if we did a blind resume on supporting casts of the current playoff teams?
Let's do that.
Where would New England rank in supporting casts? It would rank dead last by far. It wouldn't even be close. If you start ranking offensive line, Pro Football Focus ranks Tom Brady's offensive line 14th, which I think might be a little high, actually. Then we could start doing running game, which ranks middle of the pack. We could rank wide receivers, who are near the bottom, and we could rank tight ends, who are at the bottom. Yeah. And if I could read what Pro Football Focus actually wrote about Tom Brady, you just referred to him, so I'll refer to him now. Way to go, Pro Football Focus. Tom Brady has played relatively well, all things considered, having generated a little under 2 wins above replacement. I know that's like a third-level stat, but given what he's had to work with, that's pretty great. However, the rest of the group has been a nightmare, says Pro Football Focus. A nightmare on the supporting cast. Since being acquired from Atlanta for a second-round pick, Mohamed Sanu has averaged less than 1 yard per route run and only 8 yards per catch. That's bust stats right there. That's what that is. That's a bust.
I told you that.
Okay, fine. So you're accepting that as no supporting cast, and he was the key new addition in place of Josh Gordon or Antonio Brown at the wideout position. Again, they're tight ends in place of Gronk. You can't even name, except for maybe Benjamin Watson, who's 39 years of age. You like that, Mr.
And they
Sharpe?
know next man up for Gronk.
Way to go, way to go. And the tight end group doesn't have anyone over 0.08 yards per route run. I mean, it's dead last. I'm sorry.
That's not good.
It's hard to win that way. It's hard to move the ball that way. It's hard not to get frustrated that way.
But that's what made Tom Tom. When he didn't have names, when he didn't have a Gronk, when he had Jermaine Wiggins and winning Super Bowls. That's what Tom Brady can take anybody. He can take chicken, you know what, and make a chicken salad and make it make you want to buy more. But now all of a sudden, Tom Brady is 42. He's not the same guy. Let's crush his offense. Because remember, Jenny, before they lost to the Patriots, he had a decent game. Nobody mentioned anything about Julian Edelman playing good. They say Tom. But this is the problem that I have with everybody in Tom Brady. When he plays bad, he has nobody. When he plays good, Tom. Are those people playing with him when he plays good and not when he plays bad and not when he plays good? Because I'm confused.
Well, he used to have Julian Edelman, who was pretty good, and I made the case he belongs in the Hall of Fame just off his postseason production.
Okay.
It's lengthy, but it's impressive.
So he's with Tom Brady,
it's
right?
sort of like LeBron-esque. It's over time. It's a
Stop
longevity record.
Stop that.
It's a longevity record where you just played so long.
Blasphemy. You're being overly disrespectful, putting Julian Edelman and
LeBron James.
We haven't hit that debate before.
Who's the tougher guy? Who's got the most guts? I think I'll go Julian Edelman.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, Pro Football Focus concludes, unless Julian Edelman and James White can turn back the hands of time, it's going to be difficult for the Patriots to score enough points to win 4 games and repeat as champs.
Think about this, Jenny. If Julian Edelman and James White can turn back the hands of time, but Tom Brady is 11 years and 14 years older than both of those guys. Tom Brady doesn't need to turn back the hands of time, but they do. Let that sink in for a second, Jenny. A 14-year-old, a 42-year-old doesn't need to turn back the hands of time. But the 31-year-old and the 29-year-old or 30-year-old does.
So what do Julian Edelman and James White have in common? They're miniature at their position. They're little miniature guys.
Hello.
That's what you got.
So do you get less points for a touchdown if you're under 6 foot tall?
Yeah.
Skip, don't do that.
The little guys are getting old, and Julian Edelman at 33 is a battered shell of himself.
Whoa.
He's a high-contact player.
Jenny, if you don't mind me asking, Jenny, because, I'm trying to search my
What are you
stats.
looking
I got to
for?
go back. Who was Super Bowl MVP last year?
Oh, that guy.
Hold on. If the Super Bowl,
guy.
so let me get this. Julian Edelman was Super Bowl MVP almost a year ago. Now he's still. So what is he 33 or 43?
So here's the point of this. If I could take Tom Brady right now at age 42 and put him on a bunch of those teams Jenny has on this list above his 10th ranking, they would be better off right now with Tom Brady, not Lamar's team, which is number 1 because he couldn't do what Lamar does in that offense, obviously. But then what starts happening? What's 2?
2, we've got Russ.
No.
Russell Wilson.
I think he would be better right now than Russell Wilson. I just do. Russell Wilson has declined over the last 6 or 8 games.
I remember when Peyton Manning used to have the argument. Said, man, I sure wish I had Bill Belichick as my defensive coordinator and had that defense. I sure there was a lot of guys that played Tom Brady when he had Belichick.
Jenny,
but
who's
now all
third
of a
on your
sudden,
list?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. I'll give you Drew Brees. I think that'd be a push. Who's 4th on your list?
My homeboy.
My homeboy.
It'd be close. But listen, if you gave Brady those weapons, it would be devastating what he does because he would be more consistent than Mahomes.
We got to throw the ball. Sometimes you got to throw the ball 60 yards down the field. He ain't got that kind of arm.
Yeah, he still can wing it.
Yeah.
Who's next, Jenny?
How about this one? Tannehill. This is one that I thought was surprising.
Tannehill ranked above him. What do you think Tom would do if he were on the Titans on Saturday night? What do you think would happen? And Tannehill were on the Patriots. It would be a blowout.
Hold on.
It would be a wipeout. The Patriots aren't very good because they're not very good on defense anymore.
Whoa. They might not been very good on defense anymore, but the Patriots have never been good on offense this year. Let me take that back, Jim. I want to take it back. Pittsburgh. Boy, they mopped the floor with Pittsburgh first game of the season. Mopped the floor with them. But ever since then, Skip, what about that?
Yeah, but what did you tell me about my Cowboys? They just piled it up against bad teams. So did New England on defense. They were historically great against bad teams. Then what happened?
When you going to pile it up on good defenses? Your offense, when are you going to do that?
Well, Tom Brady looked really good against Buffalo, but it was a good defense.
Really?
It was a game they had to
The first
win.
game or the second game?
No, the one 2 games ago.
Oh, but they played Buffalo twice.
Yeah.
So are we going to disregard that?
Well, they won the first game.
I just go. So we
made
going
the plays. Then
Are
who's
we going to
next?
disregard
Jimmy?
that 25?
got Tannehill.
Deshaun Watson, 6.
I like
What do you
Deshaun,
think?
so maybe it'd be a push.
With
I don't know.
that offensive line? Oh, you make it seem like Deshaun Watson got a great offensive line.
No, he doesn't. Who's next?
How about my guy, Mr. Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
So, come on, Tom Brady or Kirk Cousins? Seriously?
Hold on, Skip.
Is it
Next.
even a debate?
Next.
Is it even a debate?
Guess who?
Wentz.
Hey,
Oh, walk into
you
him.
give the Eagles Tom Brady right now, and it'd be look out above.
Hold on, Skip.
Woo.
You do realize he's throwing the guys he's throwing to are undrafted free agents, like the guys that you have.
Yeah, I love Little Ward Jr.
Oh, you love him now. Oh, you love
I
him
do.
now.
And you know what? Boston Scott is electric.
Boston Scott.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy was
Tom Brady would have a ball with him.
Now, Tom Brady has a guy that's won Super Bowl MVP in Julian Edelman, and another guy that has a playoff record, Super Bowl record, 14 catches in a game. But now all of a sudden, these are the same guys that Tom Brady won with. But now all of a sudden they nobody.
Banged
You see
up.
that? You notice that, Jenny?
So-
when Tom Brady plays bad, he got nobody. Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls. They ain't mentioned nothing about Julian Edelman. They ain't mentioned nothing about James White.
That brings us to 9th on Jenny's list by ESPN,
How
and
about
it's Jimmy G, the man Bill Belichick wanted to replace
That's why.
Tom Brady with.
That's why.
If you gave San Francisco Tom Brady right now, it would be over. They would go win the
Guess
Super
what?
Bowl right
Coach
now.
Belichick says, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to keep Jimmy
Yeah.
G, because it would be over
Well,
if I
next
had
year,
Jimmy G.
I'm going to say good luck to Bill Belichick with Jared Stidham.
Wait
Good
up.
luck.
That
Good
up.
luck, because I can't wait to see Tom Brady with the L.A. Chargers as they enter into their new stadium era out here in Los Angeles.
Coach Belichick goes up to Mr. Kraft's office and shows him what Jimmy G has done. And he says, hey, this is what we could have had for 10 more years.
Okay.
We could have had more AFC championships, more Super Bowls.
I'm telling you what's going to happen this time. Mr. Kraft is not going to be forced to intervene on Tom's behalf because Tom ain't going to be there anymore. It's his choice.
It ain't his choice.
First time in his life, his pro football life, he is a free agent when it's over.
Who did that? We did that.
Okay, no, he
we
did that.
it.
He did it.
We say we give you a little bit more money, but we take it a year.
He did
That's
that.
all you get.
And he's going to say, Mr. Kraft, I love you like a father, but I'm going to Los Angeles.
Hey, Coach Belichick. Hey, Coach Belichick gonna be.
Good. Jared Stidham. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Tom Brady sitting there talking to Mr. Kraft and Bill Belichick at the door.
I can't wait
Opening the
until
door for him?
to watch that 8-8 Patriots season next year. I don't know, 8-8. I might be generous with that.
Yeah, I might be
What?
generous.
Yeah, with that declining defense.
But
it
you,
is.
Coach Belichick, don't know 8-8.
Yeah.
You must be talking about old Ray, old Jason Garrett, 8-8. Coach Belichick don't know nothing about no 8-8s.
Well, he will.
No, he won't.
He knew about him in Cleveland.
No,
Kinda
don't do that. Don't
wild.
do that. Stop
Kinda
that. That
wild.
was so long ago. People don't even remember that he coached in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You just keep bringing it up because you try to diminish that man's shine.
What was his record the first year with the New England Patriots? Help me out. You remember? 5-11?
I was going to say, I knew it was bad, but
What happened the first 2 games of the next year while Tom Brady was watching from the sideline? They fell to 0-2, and then all of a sudden, Drew Bledsoe fatefully got hurt, and here came from heaven the 6th-round draft choice, who was Tom Brady, and saved Bill Belichick's
and
job.
threw one touchdown in the playoffs, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
How many quarterbacks you think could do that in today's game? Could throw one touchdown and win and go on a Super Bowl run.
Where was that historic defense the year before when they went 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe at quarterback? What happened?
Coach Belichick needed to get his guy.
Why did he have a losing record in Cleveland and get fired?
He did. Hey, he did go to the playoffs one time.
Yeah, he did once.
Exactly.
In 5 years.
Skip, the second time. Look, the second time around is already the best time.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we didn't mention 11 or 12, and just so you know, it was Aaron Rodgers and Josh
That's
Allen.
a bull
To
job.
round out the list.
That's a bull
To
job.
round out the list, we don't.
They finally got something
They
right.
didn't get anything
What it
right.
is? Okay. So the drama surrounding the Cowboys coaching situation continues to swirl, and Dallas's all-time great quarterback and Fox NFL analyst Troy Aikman has given his 2 cents about the direction of the team. Aikman said he holds his former backup, Jason Garrett, in extremely high regard, but admitted the team has only really succeeded with, quote, a head coach that everyone answered to, specifically naming Jimmy Johnson as the type of guy who totally owned the locker room despite Jerry's big personality. Which makes a lot of sense. Shannon, would a Jimmy Johnson-style coach work for the Cowboys?
It would work for everyone except Jerry. And that's the only one that matters, Skip Bayless. You and I both know this. There's no lead that's ever going back to be a backup singer. Jerry's the lead now, Skip. He likes this. That's one of the reasons he got Jimmy up out of there. Jimmy had too much control. Jerry still owned the team. But people didn't talk about Jerry like they talk about Jerry now, Skip. The other guys was able to have their person. He drowns out everybody. It was Jimmy. And then Michael had his personality. Emmett and Troy. Don't talk about nobody. It's Jimmy. It's Jerry.
Yeah.
Skip, I've never seen anything like it. In my 14 years of playing and being around this game for almost 30 years now, I've never seen anything like Jerry. Where the reporters don't rush to hear what the quarterback or the star running back or the star of the game have to say.
That is true.
They wait for the owner to hear what he has to say. They huddle around him. I've never seen anything like this. And Troy is absolutely right. You need one voice. And it needs to be the voice that's resonating that comes out of that locker room, which is the head coach. I played for a guy in Mike Shanahan that was like that. It was his voice. I'm sure Mr. B had his thoughts, but we didn't hear about those. He and Mike worked that out. But it was Mr. B come in the locker room, skip after the game, but Mr. B wasn't addressing the team. In my 2 years in Baltimore, Art Modell spoke one time in front of the team in the locker room.
Really?
It was after the Super Bowl. He said, guys, you made me proud. He said, I'll never forget this day.
One time.
What you've done for me, I'll never forget. That's given 2 years now. I'm not saying what he did before I got there or after I left, but I'm saying in my 2 years, Mr. B, in my 12 years, I can't recall Mr. B speaking in the locker room after a game. I can't.
I've seen Robert Kraft speak occasionally, but it's only in extreme celebratory moments.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, Skip, talking about an injury, talking about who go play and who's doing this and who's doing that, that's not normal, Skip.
He is the GM, but it wouldn't even be normal for most GMs.
No,
to talk
exactly.
about that.
But Jerry looks at it like this, Skip. It's like, hold on. You say you want to cook the groceries. I'm buying the groceries. So if I'm buying them, I'm going to tell you what the hell to cook. So Jerry says, if I'm signing all the checks, you best believe I'm going to have say. I'm going to have a lot of say. And therein lies the problem, Skip. Skip, I think Jerry is an unbelievable. No, you won't hear players say a bad word about. Think about this, Skip. Troy, Emmett, Michael, he cut them all. But they'll vouch for him. He introduced all of them at the Hall of Fame.
He did.
Gil Brandt, he fired Gil Brandt the day he got there. Guess who spoke? Guess who Gil Brandt presenter was, Skip Bayless?
Trust me, he had no use for Gil Brandt when he fired him. No use.
And who was his presenter? Who was Gil Brandt's presenter?
Well, because Gil asked, and Jerry said, well, I'll take that spotlight.
Thank you.
I'll be on national TV.
But for me, Skip, Jerry's never going back to this. He's never, Skip. He's enjoyed too much. He enjoyed too much of the limelight this way. Like I said, Lionel Richie is never going back to the Commodores. Justin Timberlake is never going back to NSYNC. That like being solo, Skip. I'm out front.
Okay,
why would I go back?
This lead singer won't even harmonize.
No.
Because you can choose to harmonize, have two lead singers.
Skip, I don't remember. I forget what it was, Skip. But they had all of the divas up there. They had Mariah, they had Aretha, they had Patti LaBelle, they had all of them. They had Christina Aguilera, and everybody was trying to one up.
Of course.
Aretha said, "I'm the queen here, baby." Ain't nobody one up in the queen.
I saw it. That's true.
So Jerry's like,
that's how it should have been.
Skip. Yeah. Jerry said ain't nobody about the king, and then nobody's going to upstage Jerry in his castle.
Picturing Jerry
and that's
singing.
Jerry's castle.
Okay. So before I launch into what Troy said, and it was interesting and true what he said, that it would be the right way to go.
Right.
This is my worst case scenario about Jerry Jones. This is my worst nightmare about the guy I said earlier, is there a way to impeach him? Because there are times I feel like Jerry is getting a little football senile at age 77, where I'm starting to, he start to lose touch. He's losing touch with me because I think he's losing touch with it.
Right.
Because once upon a time, Jerry Jones, as the owner GM, was shrewdly stubborn. He was stubborn as you'll ever find, but he was shrewdly stubborn, and a lot of times his stubbornness paid off.
Right.
But now it's starting to feel like crazy old coot stubborn, you know, where you're just stubborn for stubborn's sake.
Yeah.
And you're just digging in when the whole world says, Jerry, it's obviously time to part ways with your son, Jason Garrett. All the best reporters are reporting it's a done deal, he's gone. And Jerry's saying, no, watch this. Because he can. because he always gets away with it, and they'll still watch next year, and they'll still fill those seats.
Of the 10 big most watched games, how many of them was Cowboys, Skip? 5, 6?
I mean.
And it'll be that way next year.
80,000 show up.
I know it. They had historic offensive numbers, so on that alone, Jerry can sell that going into next year, right?
Yes.
We had an historic offense. Yeah, you're 8-8. You got the same coach again. So remember, I did cover those teams that Troy's talking about. I'm going to make 2 quick points here. Number one, Jimmy Johnson did not have final say. He presented himself that way to the football team, and they believed with heart and soul that he did have, but he did not have final say. As Jerry always told me for the books I wrote about that team that we're talking about, Al Davis taught him his first year as an owner in 1989, you have to learn to coach the coach. That's how Al did business. But Al was a football man, and Al was really good at what he did.
Al was actually a football coach at one point.
I know, he actually coached at a high level.
He did.
Okay, and was very successful. So in the early years of Jimmy and Jerry, all the personnel moves Jerry had to sign off on.
Right.
And I still give Jerry huge credit. He was the one who went out and got Charles Haley.
Yes.
He was the catalyst for all those Super Bowls. He pulled it off. He stole him from what was going to become their arch rival in the
49ers.
NFC, the 49ers,
Right.
because the 49ers had said more trouble than he's worth. We just want to give him away. And so they gave him away to the wrong team.
Exactly.
Because it came back to haunt them.
You got to put him in the AFC.
You got to put him in the AFC. Yeah, that was Carmen Policy was the guy who executed that maneuver, and that really hurt that franchise. So the point was, even on the drafts, Jimmy sat in the key chair, but every draft move he made, he had to turn to Jerry and say, you good with this? And sometimes Jerry said, no, it doesn't feel right to me. So he had final say on draft day and of all the key personnel moves. So don't tell me you had final say.
Right.
But to your point, Jerry didn't do post-game press conferences. Right. And he didn't give the appearance that he was in charge until he fired Jimmy Johnson.
Correct.
Right? He let Jimmy have the appearance to the world.
Right.
I'm in charge of this football team. And Troy and Michael and Emmett, they thought, boy, he's got the last word.
And he presented it.
He did.
And they bought the Skip.
They bought it. And it was fine. It
And
was
that's
great.
all you
It
need,
worked.
Skip. They got to believe. Nobody believes Jason Garrett on that lock, Skip, that 53 man. Nobody believes Jason Garrett has any say.
Nobody. I totally agree. And there's no fear factor there. They don't fear failure because they just think, we'll just go with Jerry. You know, he's not.
Yeah, of course, Skip. The guy that's opening the checks. Look, I understand that when I say, Mike, you know, we really want to watch the fight. I understand Mike can say, yeah, but he's still got to collect. That's Mr. Bowler's money.
Yep.
Mike ain't coming out of his own pocket.
That is true. So I got to remind everyone that Jerry did give up total control, it appeared, to another Jimmy Johnson named Bill Parcells, who you could argue was an even more successful Jimmy Johnson, right?
Right.
And why did that not work? It looked like it was going to work for a while until Jerry decided, I need somebody I can sell here. I need another marquee figure. I need T.O. I need Terrell Owens, who I used to call Team Obliterator. And here he came, and Bill Parcells said, no, I don't want him, and refused to even speak his name to the media, right?
Call him the player.
And it degenerated to, remember Terrell on the bicycle at training camp, playing Lance Armstrong, if we could see that? This is how bad it got. There's Terrell. This is at training camp. And he is clowning Bill Parcells by saying, oh, you want me out here hurt? I'll sit on the exercise bike like Lance Armstrong, right?
Not a good look.
Okay, it was the end of everything.
Right.
It just blew that whole franchise apart because of that guy.
Right, and guess what? T.O. knew, even though Parcells didn't like it, he had somebody in his back pocket that had more power than Parcells.
You got
and
that
was
right.
the owner.
Okay.
So, and that's the problem in Dallas now, Skip. Those players know they can circumvent Jason Garrett, and go to Jerry. I'd have never thought I had a disagreement with Mike, or Mike did something that I didn't think was, that I'm gonna go to Mr. B. Mike, the guy went to that first of all, the cameras, because he like, Shannon, what you doing upstairs? And you're not going to come to see me or one of the offensive coaches. So you going behind my back, he gonna get me up out of there to begin with. So that was a no-no.
Yep.
Nobody
I've told you before, I'm intrigued because I have a lot of respect for Urban Meyer, what he did in college football, wildly successful at 3 stops.
Yep.
And yet, after I sleep on it, I think, well, how much of Urban's soul would he sell to coach for Jerry Jones? Probably not enough.
No.
In the end, when he really studied it, he had the quote on Colin's show, what was it, a month or so ago?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd listen to America's team. How could you not?
Gotta take the call.
Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, who obviously coached it. Ohio State, right?
Yeah, when you have that kind of control like he had at Florida, when you have that kind of control like he had at Ohio State, and all of a sudden, you was like, okay, nah, I'm good. Whatever, Jerry. That's not Urban Meyer.
I don't see that being possible.
The first time the media asked Urban about whether Dak was hurt or not, and he said, no, he's fine. And they said, well, Jerry just said he's got a bad shoulder. How would Urban take that?
And how horrible of a feeling would that be?
Yeah.
Who wants that role?
How many college presidents or athletic directors you think in Urban Meyer's career had second-guessed the play call? Or something that he does, Skip?
Or some move.
Yes!
I don't think that would end well. And no, Urban likes control. It could work if there was ability of Jerry to give up some of that. I just don't know
some
if I
compromise.
See that.
I don't know.
Think about it. Steve Jobs left Apple. They didn't want to give him control. He came back when they gave him total autonomy.
It's worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, so... But Jerry's not giving that up, Skip. You know that. I know it. You've been around him. You wrote all those books. You know he's not giving up that control now.
Not now.
Okay.
Not at age 77. Nope.
No, not right now.
You are what you are. At this age.
He's actually having too much fun. Even at 8-8, he's the center of NFL attention.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting what he wanted.
Think about it. They're getting more coverage about Jason Garrett getting another third interview than the playoff teams.
True. I agree.
They're the playoffs. They get a third meeting today.
No mercy.
According to Fox Bet, the Packers have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl at 10-1. However, ESPN's playoff quarterback rankings listed Aaron Rodgers as the 2nd worst QB in the postseason, ranked ahead of only Josh Allen. So, Shannon, did they get this ranking right?
Hell no. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They even put this out on paper. Somebody should be fired for you probably have some.
Who?
Yes. I don't know who is responsible for this, but there needs to be we need to have an inquiry to find out who did this. I need to get my guy on this job, Skip Bayless, Robert Mueller. He need to get to the bottom of
it. Oh, really?
Yeah. I need to bring the big.
This is serious.
Yes.
Business, yeah.
Lots more.
Aaron Rodgers of the 12 quarterbacks is the 2nd worst. Really? Did you watch what he did go on the road? Did you see what he did? Did he go on the road in Kansas City and beat Kansas City?
Well, there was no Patrick Mahomes that night, but go ahead.
Did you see the second half of the Detroit game?
Detroit?
Yeah.
You're using that as a pro?
They were down 17-3.
Yeah.
Down 17-3.
Wow.
And you see the throws that he made.
Yeah.
The Kumaro to Lazard.
Wow.
Devontae. Did you see what he did in the second half, Skip? The thing is now is that what we're so used to seeing from Aaron Rodgers is that we're used to seeing him having to, in order for the Packers to win a game, he needed to be 300, 350, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns in order for him to win a game. Now he has a running game. He has a defense that, even though it's been inconsistent, is better than he's had in a very long time. And so now he's like, you know what? I don't need to be a hero. And he said it. I don't need to throw for 303 touchdowns in order for us to win. I just got to be smart. Get us from bad plays to good plays, from good plays to great plays, and take care of the football. He still can make all the throws. He still can do that. We've seen him do it, Skip. You saw it. You saw him go on the road against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Take care of business. I know a guy that don't have any wins like that this year. Does it, Skip? Your guy got any wins like that, Skip? Nope.
Like what?
This guy's not on the list.
Like this.
Well, we had Minnesota on the ropes until they said, let's give the ball to Zeke.
I'm talking about the guy that they got ranked in front of him.
Yeah.
Your guy ain't make the playoffs. I don't talk. First of all, if your guy's not in the playoffs, I don't talk about it. Good, bad, or indifferent.
He's out.
But your guy ain't very good this year, but he 8-8. But I'm talking about the other guy.
Oh,
that's
the
up
other
in
guy.
Foxborough.
Yeah. I'm a Cowboy fan.
No, you a Cowboy. No. What about, I'm talking about name the team that your guy beat, went on the road, and beat that made the playoffs.
I don't know. My guy's headed for the Los Angeles Chargers. Is that
No.
okay,
but how about
it's
this?
over.
How about this?
It's out.
How about this? Until he arrived at the Chargers, can we judge him on what he did this year? So I want to know the team.
Well, his head coach tried to sabotage the supporting cast, but that's a whole nother issue.
Why do you do that every time?
We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to try to change the subject because you can't win this argument.
Skip, 4,000. He's 4,000 yards. He's 26 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's a number 2 seed
What was his QBR at Detroit, the game you're raving about, the comeback game? It was 48. That's on a scale of 0 to 100. That's below average.
Did he win?
What's his QBR for the whole year this year?
Better than Brady's.
His QBR is 54. It ranks 18th. That's by far the worst he's ever finished in QBR for a regular season. By far the
Let me ask you a
worst.
question. Is that Tom Brady's worst QBR?
So ESPN, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, my bad, Jenny. I'm sorry.
We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, and ESPN points out the Packers managed to win 13 games despite averaging 6.1 yards per pass play, which ranks 16th in the NFL by the greatest thrower of the football ever.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
ranked 16th in yards per pass play. And it points out that this was such a below average yards per attempt, and it was so hard to fathom for ESPN because Green Bay often was ranked number 1 in pass protection, and this week is ranked overall 4th in pass protection.
Okay.
Tom Brady's line 14th, Aaron Rodgers 4th. And you put up these putrid numbers by your standards with some of the best protection in the National Football League? Are you kidding me?
I mean, think about it. Let me say again, Jenny. It's 4,000 yards and 26 and 4. But hold on. Now,
I think it's my turn.
Okay, Bobby, you're right.
Thank
you're
you
right.
very much. So let's look at the other numbers in completion percentage. Boy, he ranks 21st in the league. This is the greatest thrower of the football ever, transcendent thrower of the football.
Okay.
How about big pass plays? He can throw it down the field. He's tied for 10th in big pass plays. This is the transcendent thrower of the football.
Well, your guy.
He is in decline. You can't do my guy. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. And we come back to the conclusion from ESPN. From 2010 through 2016, no quarterback earned a better raw Pro Football Focus grade. I think this is from Pro Football Focus, per dropback than Aaron Rodgers. So they're saying this guy, for those years that you're talking about, 10 through 16, he was it in this league.
Still is.
And if there's any magic left, this would be the right time to see it, because ESPN's conclusion is this version of Aaron Rodgers is not winning a Super Bowl. Now, I would disagree with that on this point. The MVP of this team clearly was the other Aaron, as in Jones. And I love this football team because it's everything my Cowboys were not. It figured out how to win inexplicably. My team lost inexplicably. It won when you scratched your head and say, how did they do that against Detroit? But they kept doing it. Sometimes Aaron would make one good throw that put them over the hump.
It said, you said ESPN said that the Packers will not win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, this current Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Did it say about the Patriots winning a Super Bowl with this?
We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. It's all you got is to change the subject. He's ranked 11th where he should be ranked.
My point is, because he's ranked behind Tom Brady. So that validates my point. He hasn't had a worse year than Tom Brady. Now, you keep talking about all the guys. Skip, did you know that Kumaro, Lazard, and Geronimo Allison are all undrafted free agents? And while you keep talking about Jimmy Graham, he out there running like Alexander Graham Bell.
Yeah,
he's not the same guy, Skip. You know that.
Tom Brady doesn't have Devontae Adams. He is a stud.
He missed 4 games.
Okay,
missed a month.
Okay, that's 4 out of 16. He played 12.
Okay,
and when he played, he was it.
And how many games did Julian Edelman miss?
What does it matter? We're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. You know why? He sucks it up and plays hurt, and he's playing really hurt right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but did Tom Brady have an Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones can really catch it out of the backfield.
And when James White can catch.
Yeah, James White can catch it, but when Aaron Jones catches it out of the backfield, he can take it to the house. He can fly. He's got burst.
What about that screenplay that James White called against Miami?
That got called back?
No, it went in the end zone.
Oh, the one that went in the end zone, yeah. Well, okay.
Skip, look, the thing is that you have to grade Aaron what he's asked to do. Okay.
You know, the one thing you have to accept about Aaron is he accepts this. He's just openly.
He said that.
He's talking about, I'm on the back 9 of my career.
Yeah.
He's talking about seeing the 18th hole in sight.
Skip.
Tom Brady wants to play until he's 50.
Yeah, he might, but he won't do it on New England. But here's the thing, Skip. When you're on the back 9, it doesn't mean you're at the 17th or the 18th hole.
Yeah, there's still
You know,
time.
you back 9, you might be at the 13th, which would mean 5 years to go, right?
Yeah, I was just amazed by all the things he divulged in his podcast he did with Danica, his sweetheart, obviously.
You get with your baby, you start talking, you forget that you want to do the podcast. You know what I'm saying? So we call that pillow talk. You get with your baby, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wait. Are we on air?
I think that's what happens.
Those are all the things you wouldn't hear from Tom Brady because he's just still obsessed with football and he keeps apologizing to his wife and children. I'm sorry, I got to do this. Sorry.
Yeah, he should be apologizing. Did I put that performance on the field, baby? You got to see that. And you're like, I married you after what I saw last week. You got to do better than that, honey, because me and the kids, we not going to sit around and watch you stick it up on a nightly basis.
So
you need to come on home.
Who has the better supporting cast, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? It's not even
The better
close.
quarterback right now is Aaron Rodgers.
Better offensive line by far is Aaron Rodgers. But he's accepting his fate now. He's in decline, but he's winning.
Aaron Rodgers with a rookie head coach and doing this.
They're winning. They're winning ugly, but whatever. They're winning. They're finding a way to get done.
No mercy.
Well, the first coaching vacancy of the offseason has been filled as the Redskins officially announced Ron Rivera as their new head coach yesterday. However, Mike Freeman pointed out on Bleacher Report that Rivera is one of only 4 minority head coaches in the NFL, along with Brian Flores, Mike Tomlin, and Anthony Lynn. While there were a record 8 minority head coaches as recently as 2018, Freeman also points out that coaches of color are now even turning down interviews for jobs because they believe these interviews are, quote, shams. So, Shannon, your reaction to this?
I believe there's some merit to it, Skip. I think the spirit of the Rooney Rule is in the right place, Skip. At least give them minorities, black, people of color, Hispanic. Ron Rivera is of Hispanic descent. Give them an opportunity to get their foot in the door because before they were not even getting their foot in the door. And if I'm not mistaken, Skip, I think the Rooney Rule was implemented 02, 03, something of that nature. For right now, there's 32 NFL head coaches, just 4 are minorities. That's the fewest in the last 16 years. The thing that's going to have to change, Skip, the people that do the hiring.
Yep.
There's one of the 32 general managers, there's one of color. That's Chris Greer in Miami. The 32 owners, there's none of color. So until you get someone, because it's going to be familiarity, Skip. It's going to be somebody I'm familiar with. I know, and I know it sounds, cliche as a shame. And I agree with Mike Freeman said that someone because sometimes I believe it's just, okay, let me just check the box to say I did have one in here, having no intentions of hiring him. But until you get more African-American or minorities of color in the general manager position, and until we can get Robert Smith and Oprah and Jay-Z to buy a club, Skip, how do you tell a man that's worth $10 billion who the hell to hire? I mean, I get it, but Jerry Jones is going to hire who he's comfortable with. Shad Khan and all these owners, they're going to hire who they're comfortable with. Skip, I'm sorry. I wish I can give you a better explanation. But it comes down to that's what it is. They're going to hire somebody that they're comfortable with. And guys are not getting in the position that they can have influence. They're one general manager.
So, quick question.
Yes.
Why do so many white NBA owners hire men of color to coach their basketball teams, which they might or might not be socially comfortable
Skip,
with?
I have no idea. But if you look at it, Skip, you look at how many the NBA is like predominantly African Americans, and they have a lot of black coaches. But if you look at the entertainment, at the All-Star game for NBA, and look at the entertainment for the Super Bowl.
I know.
It's totally different.
You got me.
And the thing is, Skip, and I'm like, hold on. How you gonna have 70% African Americans play the game, but 10%, 5% coaching?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture, Skip? It's just that maybe the NBA owners are more forward thinking. Maybe the players have more power. I don't know what it is, Skip, but there's something, 4 of 32. That's 8%? I think my math correct. 12%. But Skip, until that changes, because I just don't know how you tell a billionaire who he should and shouldn't hire.
You are correct. So, I got 2 strong points I would like to make.
Okay.
First of all, I texted with my friend John Wooten, who I've known forever, covered him forever when he was the GM of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And he is now the retired head of the Fritz Pollard Alliance. And I believe that John Wooten was most responsible for pushing through this Rooney Rule that at least requires NFL owners to interview candidates of color. And John's response to me about 4 out of 32 this morning, it is hurtful. The owners must commit that they are going to be open to giving opportunity to men of color as the face of their franchise. Right. We have guys ready to go. These are African-American candidates for head coaches. Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City, the coordinator. Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator in Dallas. Robert Saleh, obviously the coordinator in San Francisco. Jim Caldwell, who has been a successful head coach in this league. Steve Wilkes, who did not get a fair shake in Arizona. He got one and done. Yeah. Terrell Austin, who's in Pittsburgh and is ready to go as a potential head coach. And, of course, Marvin Lewis, who was a long time, fairly is up and down successful head coach, but deserves another shot. Yes. He was with Herman Edwards at Arizona State this year. And John Wooten concludes in his text to me, only one GM is heartbreaking, because that's the bottom line to this. It's just one GM.
Right.
So now the flip side of this, the only silver lining is the annual report from the Institute of Diversity and Ethics in Sport, in which they grade the NFL on its head coaches and its assistant coach hiring. They give this year's head coach hiring a D+. This is for this past year.
Right.
And assistant coach hiring, they give the NFL an A+. Ooh, D+ for head coaches, A+ for assistants. So they're in the pipeline, as they say, right? They're coming up. But these owners, they have sheepthink to them, and they want the next it thing. And so they're looking at who's successful as a black head coach right now. Well, Brian Flores was coming alive, man. They were coming on.
Yeah, he's building something in Miami.
They went 5-4 to finish, right? And they did beat those Eagles, and they went up to Belichick and beat Belichick, right?
But, Skip, what do they want? They want hotshot young offensive minds. Okay. They want the Lincoln Rileys. Sure. They want the Josh McDaniels, the Sharpe. Okay, who's the next? But most of the head coaches, Skip, they come from what side of the ball?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin, but Mike Tomlin went 8-8 this year. Anthony Lynn, who you played with, he went 5-11 this year. So they're not saying, I need another Tomlin. Not now, not at this point. That happened before, right? So this is the one that baffles me. How is Matt Rule, the head coach at Baylor University, the hottest thing going in head coach camp? I don't get it. Matt Rule, what are you talking about?
It's like when somebody puts your name out there, it'll catch fire.
It just goes crazy. He was the assistant offensive line coach for the Giants for 1 year in 2012. He turned around Temple, and people are giving him credit for turning around Baylor from its scandal days.
Right.
Sure, but
still, they were up 31-10 on my Oklahoma Sooners at halftime at home, and they lost. And then they lost to them in the championship game, and they lost to Georgia last. I don't know. I don't get it. It's not like he's setting the college football world on fire.
By it.
Okay, but he's the hot candidate. And of color, no. We're not hearing. I don't hear any of these.
And the thing is, it's like you can be a hot candidate if you're like Chris Richard. But if you have an off year, you're off the radar. Ain't nobody talking about you see what he did?
He did get an interview with the Giants.
Yes.
And I don't know, was it a Rooney Rule kind of interview? I don't know.
Look, man, I don't know, Skip. It's just until you get people in position that can do hiring. I mean, look, there are only a handful. Skip, let's get right down to it. There are a handful of the coaches. How many coaches are rep by Bob Lamont and how many by Jimmy Sexton? So they're in that pool. That's the pool. And so my guy, and guess what? I get a job, I'm going to hire him, I'm going to hire him, I'm going to hire him. So we just keep it revolving. Keep it revolving.
Yep. Well, you got to be the hot guy at the right time.
Yes.
Chris Richard was a hot guy coming out of Seattle, Legion of Boom. Yes. He was the coach of that defensive backfield.
Yeah.
And last year he was kind of a hot guy in Dallas.
But he kind of cool because look at the defense this year.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, that impacts him, though.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're not in the playoffs and you don't have anything to score for.
And what you call him, Josh McDaniels, get run up out of Denver. He was terrible as the offensive coordinator with the Rams. He quit a job, Skip.
He did.
He quit a job. They getting ready to introduce him at a press conference. The man no shows.
Well, Indy. Yep.
Yes. And he a hard commodity again. It's going to be interesting. I want to see what he can do without. I ain't questioning his mindset. But I want to see what he can do without Tom Brady. Because I saw what he did with Sam Bradford, and I saw what he did in Denver with, I forget the guy, he was at Chicago first. I forget what he did with him. What did he do, Skip? Nothing. But Tom, Skip, who the hell couldn't go? I might probably win 3 Super Bowls with Tom. I might not get to 6, but I get 3.
You would. You could get 3.
It's like Brett, it's like when Brett Favre. Look how many guys Brett Favre got head coaching jobs, Skip. They came up on the Mike Holmgren tree from Mariucci,
John Gruden,
John Gruden to Red, Andy Reid.
Yep.
A lot of guys.
It is interesting.
No mercy.
Jerry Jones is scheduled to meet with Jason Garrett again today to discuss the coach's future with the Cowboys. This marks the third meeting between the two since the season has ended. And while most of the speculation has been that Garrett's tenure with Dallas is inevitably over, the fact that we've got yet another meeting without any resolution is raising eyebrows around the league. Garrett, of course, has been the Cowboys head coach for the past 9.5 years, but his contract with the team officially expires on January 14th. So, Shannon, how do you see this playing out?
We're going to be talking about it again on Monday, Skip. I hate to disappoint you. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news in 2020. But
Monday?
We're going to be talking about this again on Monday, Skip.
And how will you interpret that?
Skip, Jerry is going to have to be convinced beyond convinced that he needs to move on from Jason Garrett. He's not convinced. This 8-8 season didn't convince him because of all the stats. This was a historically good offense. Jason Garrett was the head coach. They just had some bad luck. Jason Garrett was the head coach. The special teams, the average starting field position and kick return and punt and all that. Oh, we get a new special team coach. Keep Jason. So, Skip, until Jerry, and that's the person that needs to be convinced because he's made it abundantly clear. Yes, I get input from the family, but the buck stops on my desk. I have final say. And so until he's absolutely 100% convinced that it's better for his team to go in a different direction without Jason Garrett, we're going to continue this to drag on. And I'm not sure. I know he's not convinced right now. He's not convinced. That's why we're still here.
He is clearly convinced he wants to go forward with Jason Garrett. He was convinced Sunday night when going into Monday morning.
Happened.
Yeah, and everybody reported Jason Garrett is gone. Credible reporters. He is gone. And Jerry dug in and said, nope, sorry, I'm sticking with him. And I hope I'm wrong about everything I'm going to say, but I think Jerry's strategy, which is actually a pretty shrewd strategy, was to leak to the media that he was going to have the first meeting.
Yeah.
Then leak again a second meeting, which was Thursday. Then leak again another meeting. And here we go again. I'm sorry, this is the third meeting. Yeah, this is the third
Monday,
meeting.
Tuesday, and Thursday.
Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And in doing so, all he's doing is easing Cowboy Nation into the fact that he is going forward with Jason Garrett. He's trying to prepare and condition Cowboy fans to accept the inevitability that Jason is going to be the head coach on opening day of 2020. And again, I believe he's convinced himself that they did have an historic offense. And Dak did get hurt before the Eagles game. And Jason Garrett is the every other season coach who wins the division and sometimes a playoff game because 2014, 16, 18, he won the division. They collapsed in the middle years and they collapsed this year. But wait, 2020 is an even year. It's time for Jason to win another division. And Jerry is very comfortable with Jason, as we've discussed to death.
Family member-esque.
Yeah. And obviously, for me, Jason Garrett should have been gone after 2012. So it's been 7 years of me saying, it's over, it's over. No, it's not over. And then they somehow, Dak falls out of heaven along with Zeke, and they win a division, and he stays afloat. And Jerry finally got to the point where you're coaching for your quote-unquote football life this year because you're on a one-year deal. Well, trust me, I don't think he'll do it in a press conference, but I think it will be leaked that Jason Garrett has now been given at least a 2-year contract, if not a 3-year.
Skip, think about this. Freddie K. Key didn't work after the game. Jason Key still work here this Thursday. Freddie K. couldn't even get back into the building after the game.
Shouldn't laugh. I know.
They took the, as a matter of fact, they didn't even give him the Browns backdrop.
Oh, and did you hear this? Now Bruce Feldman tweeting that the Browns are interested in Urban Meyer. Serious interest. So do you lose opportunities for other people?
Interested in them.
True.
Jerry doesn't need another head coach. He's got one. That's what he thinks.
Boy. Skip.
No mercy.
Carmelo Anthony scored a season-high 26 points in his old stomping grounds of Madison Square Garden. This was only Melo's second game in New York since being traded away in 2017. And just a few days ago, Melo said that he hopes to see his number 7 jersey hanging from the rafters at the Garden someday. So, Shannon, should the Knicks retire Melo's jersey?
They should, but Skip, I always get a little queasy when guys like, my name should be up in, my number should be in the Raptors and things of that nature. Your play should speak for itself and should be indicative what the organization thinks of you. I think he played well enough in Denver for it to be retired there up in the rafters also. But I just feel funny when guys say it. Mm-hmm. It should be, you shouldn't have to say it. That's my personal
So has it come to this for the New York Knicks that he was there for 7 years, they only made the playoffs 3 times and won 1 round of the playoffs, just 1 round, right. And you're saying, I think my jersey belongs up there, and that's after you had just lost by 24 to the current 10-24 New York Knicks. Portland lost by 24.
Reminiscing.
Yeah, reminiscing. They've lost 5 in a row. Have the Trailblazers 5 in a row, and now they've fallen to 14-21. And you're talking about your jersey. I don't know. It just hit me wrong, and I like Carmelo a lot, but I'm not sure. It would seem like if he had been a Laker, no one would be talking.
Oh hell no! You ain't getting no jersey hung if you're not. No, not with that kind of resume. No.
So now he's becoming Portland's best player, and seriously, they're 14-21. What are you doing?
I mean, well, Skip. I mean, his jersey got to go somewhere, Skip.
Yeah, well.
What about the Nuggets?
I think right now he's lucky to be wearing a jersey.
He is. That is what he is doing.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.